What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and we are deep into the NBA playoffs right now in the conference semifinals, and we just had two great games going on today. I am recording this video on Sunday, and we had the Knicks against the Pacers for Game 4 and Game 4 of the series between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the defending champion Denver Nuggets. And I want to start out with the Knicks-Pacers game because it looks like the momentum of this series has shifted completely. New York took the first two games of the series off brilliant performances from Jalen Brunson, guys like Donte DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, who have been really good all postseason. And so the Pacers go back to Indy. They're down 0-2. They got to win both of these games to stay in the series, and they did just that. In Game 3, they won in super dramatic fashion. Andrew Nembhard hit a very tough step back three to give New York a 3-point lead, and on the final play of the game, Jalen Brunson tried to draw a foul instead of going for an actual three, which is something that I know a lot of people have a problem with, and so the Knicks ended up losing a heartbreaker. And then in Game 4, it was a completely different story. The Pacers just came out and absolutely throttled the Knicks. They were up 34-13 after the first quarter, and they were up by as many as 43 points against New York. And today it looked like the game I thought was eventually coming for the Knicks, where it just looks like these injuries that they've sustained throughout the regular season and the postseason are just finally catching up to them. You look at the Knicks right now, no OG Anunoby, who is a critical piece that they acquired at the trade deadline. They were 26-5 in games that Anunoby played when he was in the lineup. So basically, when Anunoby played, the Knicks were a very, very good basketball team, very hard to beat. He made them a lot better defensively, and when called upon and when needed, he could give them sparks offensively as well. OG Anunoby is a very good player, and the Knicks miss him a lot right now. And then obviously, as we all know, Julius Randle has been out for pretty much a big majority of the season after suffering that shoulder dislocation against the Miami Heat. He had surgery on it, and he hasn't been playing. Bojan Bogdanovic, another guy the Knicks acquired at the trade deadline, has been out for a majority of the postseason as well. And so you just look at these injuries for the Knicks that keep stacking up. Mitchell Robinson is a guy that is potentially going to be out for the entire postseason. And so they're missing so many critical pieces, and it's a lot on the shoulders of Jalen Brunson, who may just be the best player in the playoffs right now. He's having an incredible postseason, but it's a lot to ask for a guard who's barely even 6'2" to carry your team through the Eastern Conference playoffs when he doesn't have the necessary supporting pieces around him. Yes, Donte DiVincenzo had an incredible Game 3. Josh Hart has been attacking the offensive glass like really nobody's ever seen before, but it's just not enough against a team like the Pacers. They play super fast, they have all their guys, and really for the Pacers these first two rounds, what they've been able to do is they've been able to put guys like TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard, who are very scrappy, not excellent defenders, but they're scrappy enough and they can create enough pressure on the ball. And they've just been picking up the other team's best guard full court. We saw it in the first round against the Milwaukee Bucks. They were picking up Damian Lillard at full court. They were picking up Chris Middleton in the games that he played without Dame and Giannis. They're just picking them up full court and just forcing somebody else to beat them. The Bucks weren't able to do it in round 1. They did push it to 6 games, but they fell in Game 6. And then the Knicks have been doing a better job at it. They were able to protect home court, get the first 2 games. But what we're seeing now in this, as the series continues along, the Knicks just don't have enough support. Jalen Brunson had what was easily his worst game of the postseason, only had 18 points. And so I really think the Pacers have taken control of this series, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just finish it off and beat the Knicks in 6, because they're going to go to the Garden for Game 5. They've played really good at MSG in these playoffs, and so I could definitely see them winning Game 5, and then they go back home to Indianapolis, where they've been very good all postseason. They have not lost a game at home in these playoffs. I believe they're the only team left that has yet to lose a game at home in the playoffs. They're undefeated at home, and so their home court advantage is very good. And for a young team like the Pacers, they obviously want to play at home as much as possible because they don't have that experience that the other teams have going on the road and winning big postseason games. And you just see it. The role players play better at home, especially young role players. So I think that the Knicks could definitely be in some trouble here. Game 5, I think, is a must win. They have to win Game 5, or else I think the Pacers will come away with a win in this series, and they will move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, where I think they will be playing the Boston Celtics. Although they are only up 2-1, on the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell has been giving really everything he has all postseason, and I think he has one more game left in him. He can get them another game, and so I think the Celtics are going to have to grind out that series against Boston, and I think they will meet the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. And to the other game that wrapped up today, the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Denver Nuggets, kind of the same thing. Minnesota goes on the road, surprises everybody, steals the first two games, and Game 2 was one of the most incredible defensive displays I think really anybody has ever seen from a basketball team. They were taking so much pride on the defensive end. They were making Nikola Jokic uncomfortable. Jamal Murray, 4 for 18 from the field, could not get anything going at all, was throwing heat packs onto the court, towels onto the court, flipping off the refs. He just was not in his element, and a lot of people thought he should have gotten suspended for his actions for Game 3, but instead he was just fined the $100,000. And then he came out in Game 3, and he had a bounce-back game for sure. He finished with, I believe, 24 points in that game. I could be wrong, but the point is, he played very well, and the Nuggets were able to recapture some momentum and make the series 2-1. And then in the game tonight, it was a little more of a grind-out game, but Denver, I think, also took back the momentum of this series, and going back to Denver for Game 5, the Timberwolves are in a really tough spot because, yeah, you stole the first two games on the road, but now the Nuggets are the team with the momentum. And so they're the defending champs. They've done this before. They're trying to repeat. They know what's at stake going into that game, and I think they're going to be ready to play. And when you look at how the Nuggets were able to win this game, Nikola Jokic, 35 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. But that's not really the story of this game to me, because Jokic is going to put up numbers like that every single night, night in and night out. He's the best player in the league. That's what we expect from him. But Aaron Gordon has had a great series so far. 27 points. He was their leading scorer in that Game 2 loss. I think he had like 15 points in Game 2. He was really the only guy that showed up in that game. And so he had 27 points tonight, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, and was really playing some great defense on Karl Anthony Towns. And they completely took Cat out of this game. He really struggled from the field. And so Anthony Edwards was pretty much just a one-man show out there the whole time. Anthony Edwards had a career high 44 points, his playoff career high, but you're not going to beat the Nuggets with a one-man show. You're going to have to get other guys involved. And if Mike Conley, your starting point guard, is giving you 15 points, Karl Anthony Towns, your all-star center, he's only giving you 13, and then the two of them went 10 of 30 from the field combined, that's not going to get it done against the defending champs. They're definitely going to need more than that on the road. And so as this series shifts back to Denver, I do think that the Nuggets are going to win Game 5, but I do think that no matter what happens, the Timberwolves are going to win Game 6 on their home court. I just think Anthony Edwards is too good of a player to let his team lose 3 straight home playoff games. And so I think whatever happens in that series is going to go 7 games. And really, the key, if you want to beat Denver, you're going to give up numbers to Nikola Jokic. Like I said, he's the best player in the league. But you can't let the auxiliary players get theirs too. You know, like Jamal Murray can't be scoring 20 plus points, and you can't let Aaron Gordon, a guy who really isn't even on the floor to score points, go off for 27 points. And I mean, Aaron Gordon, ever since he got traded from Orlando, he has just really found his flow and role in this Denver Nuggets team. And I really just have so much respect for what he's done, because when you look at what he was on the Magic, even though they weren't a very good team, he was the first or second option at times, and they were looking for him to be their go-to guy in the postseason. And obviously it didn't work out, and that's kind of a big adjustment to make for a player when you were viewed as a top option on one team, and then you get traded to a team where you're for sure not the first option because they have Jokic, and you're definitely not the second option because you have a guy in Jamal Murray who scores with the best of them in the postseason. And so he doesn't complain. He just plays his role. He's on the court to play defense and then get key baskets when it matters. And I thought he really made his impact on this game. There were so many plays during the game where he would make a great off-ball cut and Jokic would find him right under the basket for an easy dunk that would give Denver back all the momentum that they needed to win this game. And there were times where the highest lead for Denver in this game was 19, but there were times when Minnesota would make their runs because Anthony Edwards would be super aggressive, force his way to the basket, put the ball in the cup, and then Jokic would just find Aaron Gordon off a double team right under the basket, and then the run would pretty much end there. And so both of these series are going to maybe come down to the wire. I think the Pacers are going to pull away against the Knicks, and I do think that Denver is ultimately going to beat Minnesota, but I do think it will be in 7 games because I have Denver winning Game 5, but I think the Timberwolves will win Game 6 and force it back to Denver for a Game 7, and then Denver will close out Minnesota in 7 games. So let me know what you guys thought about these 2 games. I just wanted to make a video about them, give my thoughts on them and the series in general as a whole. These playoffs have been really exciting, and I'm looking forward to the rest of these games ahead. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Look for more content linked in the description.